Ba-ba-da-dang, dang, dang. Ba-ba-da-dang, dang, dang. Ba-ba-da-dang, dang, dang. I just ba-ba-da-dang, dang, dang. Ba-ba-da-dang, dang, dang. Got my kid. Ba-ba-da-ba-dum-bum-bum. Ba-ba-da-ba-dum-bum-bum. To sleep, to sleep, to sleep. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 56 of I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. Did you believe that that was a real theme song? Did you believe that I hired a guy who sounded a little bit like me but whispering and then wrote out lyrics and notes and then had them do it a cappella and then edited it in? Because I didn't. That was just me. Ba-ba-da-dum, ba-ba, ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba. We're starting, and we're not turning back. As you might have noticed from my joyful spirit, not that I don't have joy when I'm put my kid to sleep. I know we've gone through this a lot, but I'm in a different location today. I'm on the road, on location. I'm off location today. Usually I do my podcast on location, having just got my kid to sleep. The majority of the time I've done a podcast, it's been on location after I just got my kid to sleep. But this is a podcast that's off location, and Jack's been asleep for a while. I did FaceTime him before bed. He was watching Frozen. See? I'm not making it up. Do you think I could just pick out a movie? Yeah, that's what kids do. They watch movies before bed. When I was a kid, we had like a VCR and stuff, but you would rent a movie or you go to the movie theater. Now you can just stream little parts of movies as if they're episodes. I don't know. What is this world turning into? But anyway, I think it's partially because I'm at my parents' house in the basement, as you can see by the solid wood. And let me tell you something. My dad is retired officially, and they are really going through this basement. And they're soon going to get to the stuff that's mine. Like I can see a Guitar Hero guitar from this angle. And I don't have room in my life for a Guitar Hero guitar right now. Or there's a PlayStation 2. I don't think there's a lot of like kids games for PlayStation. I don't think it's a lot of like, so I don't have room, but I'm rooting for them to clean out here, but not so fast that I have to make quick decisions about things in my life. I don't want to have to change. What's that about? So, but it's nice. It's nice. I'm in a bait, so I got a lot of things to do the sound, so it's not echoey. You know, if they clean it all out, it might be echoey. That's something I shouldn't tell them if I want them to clean it out. But the basement, I got tonight's the night when, as a parent or in real life, because it's all a dream when you're a parent. No, I do not have to wake up tomorrow. Tomorrow, I could sleep all of tomorrow. That's why the podcast is right now, is because I could sleep all of tomorrow. Usually the podcast is I just got my kid to sleep. Today, it's I could sleep forever. Well, that'd be dying, but not die. But you know, I could lay down and there's no alarm. Tonight there's no alarm. Airplane mode. Why do airplanes get to monopolize the name of the mode that's appropriate when you do a lot of other things, you know? Like sleeping or being like on a date or something like that. I'm going to open this water and I don't want it to spill on my stuff, so I'm describing what I'm doing, which you can see if you're watching the video. I don't know why I do that. Why do people do? It does feel good. It feels like it tastes better. This does taste good. This is 100% natural spring water. It's interesting they say 100% natural spring water, because I've never seen like 68% natural spring water. Riffing on the water. This is 50% natural spring water and 50% just water from a puddle. Water from a puddle that we found, helping to conserve springs. I heard spring water was healthy to drink, and I believed it, and now I think it is. So that's good to do. But yeah, today I had a show in East Lansing, Michigan, which I don't know if there's a West Lansing, but I was in the East one. It's a whole city, and Michigan State is there. It was a college show for non-college students. It was they call them subscribers. They kept saying that this is a show for subscribers. And I didn't know what that meant, but I feel like when I go to do a show, I got enough questions so I don't ask the ones that aren't immediately important, Like I didn't know if that meant that it sounded like later I found out that you buy your tickets like ahead of time, like a subscription. It kind of feels like that they're all older people for the most part, that they like understand Netflix, but only for live performances. They're like, subscription? So we go there? Okay. No. But yeah, it was out of college, but it was for grown-ups. It was the first show I did on a college campus where I was young compared to everybody. Even when I was young as a stand-up, I was still out of college. So that's that defense. We're all young to our older selves. That's a fact, right? I just so I did that show and the rain was coming down, and I got a hotel so I could get ready, and then I was like, I'm just going to drive back to my parents' house, and I hit a big hole like in the road. You know how like when they fix roads, they make you drive on the part that's not usually a road? It's got like the bumper, the things that like to tell you're going off the road. The this is just about me not knowing something right now. That's anyway. It was like that was a lane, and then on top of the what is it? Not bumper. Not. I'm thinking of bumper bowling. Not in the midst of the there was like a huge hole that was scary. It was a scary pothole. It was a pothole, and not the size of a pot. I'd say the size of 6 pots. That's what I'd say. So I'm driving. It's dark out. Potholes look very similar to the road, and I hit it. I just, and I get scared. I got scared at first because I thought I did something wrong, because when you drive a lot, there's a good chance that you might be doing something wrong. And I was like, what did I do? Which shouldn't be the first question. I feel like that's a non-productive situation. Oh, what did I do wrong? It should be like, am I okay? Does this need immediate action? And maybe instinctively, I was like, does this need immediate action? But I was just going down the road still. Everything seemed fine. And then some time went by, and the air pressure light came on for one of my tires. I was like, oh no, I blew a tire, Because that's how I've experienced it in my life, is either the tires are not blown or they're blown. They're either good or they're donezo. So, yeah, I said donezo. So, am I getting a little hot on the mic? I'm driving, and the air, I have a tire thing in the car that tells me moment by moment where we're at. And my first instinct is like, oh, the tire gauge is probably broken. Like, it's not like, oh, remember that huge thing I hit back there where I was worried that I did something wrong, because that's a personality disorder I have, is like guilt over health. So I just was like, that's so confusing. I think the tire gauge is wrong. But then it went from like, my tires need to be inflated to like 32. This is an SUV, so I do 30, maybe it's 38, because it was the rest of them were like close to 40. And it was down to 30, it was down to 26. And I was like, maybe the tire pressure is wrong, because it's an older car. I keep it here in Chicago. Maybe it just needs some attention. My dad does a really good job caring for it. But and then it's down to like 20. I pull over off the side of the road first. Not the side of the road. Don't do that, everybody. If your car can drive, don't just pull over on the side of the highway. Get off on the exit. This is an important fact, because you might have your screen like lighting up. If there's not smoke, if your car tire isn't like physically you can feel your car leaning because it's all, just try to go. That's what I think, because when you're on the highway, cars are going, and yeah. So I get off the exit and I look at, oh no, the noise again. What is that going on? I'm gonna have to go press that thing to turn it off again. We're in the basement. There's this thing that goes off. It seems like every 10 minutes now, and I press the little button to make it go away. And apparently it only works for 10 minutes. It used to work longer. I'm going to keep talking as long as I can. So stay with me. Okay, I can't talk right now. Hold on. It's all okay. Stop making that noise. Stop. That's annoying. This is bad for business. It's bad for business. I could edit it out. I'll ask the editor to get on that. So, that was a good, I should have told everybody like a break thing they could do, like, here. Hold on, everybody. That's not my. Well, it's for a podcast. We'll get back to that. I'm sure it'll happen. But so I'm driving and I pull off the side of the road and I check the tire and I kick the tires and I imagine I think of saying kicking the tires because that's like a metaphor for seeing if everything works still, we're going to kick the tires and that thing. So I kick the tires and they're not responding at all. It's like they're full of pressure. So now I'm torn. Like, do I trust my foot and my eyes, or do I trust my dashboard, my loyal dashboard on my car? Why do they call it a dashboard? I just think we didn't think things through all the time. That was another water. So, some people, anyway, we'll get back to them. So I'm like, do I trust these eyes and this foot and the hand? I touched the tire too with my hands. And I smelled the thing. I did smell a thing. That was one sense that I used that made it feel like something was wrong with that tire. Everything else appeared fine. The car wasn't leaning. I've never had a tire like that. It's usually either blown, gone, get rid of it, or like fine, or like maybe slowly leaking over the night. This was like so I was like, I don't know what to do. Just nothing clicked in my brain. I was like, what can I do? There's nothing. What am I gonna call? Am I gonna call AAA over something like that for everything that looks fine, but the thing says it's not fine? So I get back on the road. And I'm driving, and then it goes to 20. This is a great story, and they'll get. There's parts. If we were to like combine it together in a good way, this is free. So I maybe there's ads on the video, but the audio. So I'm driving again, right? Not the smartest move. I can feel it in my heart. Earlier I hit a pothole at like 70, and that's the speed limit in Michigan. They just don't care. The speed limit is there's 75. I saw a sign one time in Michigan where it was like a curve. They said a curve, and it was like 65. Just like 60, like, whoa there, buddy. There's a curve that you could die on. Keep it under 70. Like, what's their school zone? Like, no 55 in the school zone, everybody. Okay, these kids have to learn. Keep the engine braking down. What is engine braking? So, I'm going the speed and I hit the thing, and I felt like a distinct panic, But then I'm driving, and the car's telling me something's wrong. I smelled something wrong, and I just didn't know. I was just like, well, what do I do, right? And I was just driving in this car that was not leading towards a good result. And then the thing came on and said it was down to 20. So I pull over again. I think you would see it go down, but I didn't see it. Maybe I need to get my eyes checked. What do you think? Their contacts are still good. So I pull over and then I get an idea, which feels like an idea I should have had right away. So if you're in this situation, have this idea. What if I fill it up with air? Huh? That's what the air is for, is to put in your tire. So I go to a gas station, and sometimes I feel like things happen and you get to interact with people that you wouldn't normally get to interact with. And that's what makes life so rich and plentiful and worthiness. And I feel butter is a word that I would put there. So I pull over and this other gas station. So I'm down to 20 and I see the air. And I heard a law one time that gas stations have to give you air for free. So, but not in Michigan. I go and I put my quarters in. I put my quarters in the air thing. You need 4 quarters. What is this? Chuck E. Cheese air? You don't take a card? So, but I had quarters because, it's an old Jeep. It still likes money that you can hold in your hands. And slide some quarters from the quarter slot of my thing between the 2 seats in the front, which I believe is called the words today. The words are escaping me. So, the thing, the console, the armrest. My arms have been falling asleep on planes a lot, and they go numb, and then I wake up. Isn't that weird? Like my arm falls asleep, and then it wakes me up because I'm like, I need blood. Like, they shouldn't call it falling asleep. They should call it suffocating, because that's more accurate. I feel like blood suffocate, because now I gotta wake up. I always wake up when parts of my body just fall asleep. It's like my brain's like, well, we can't. You're supposed to stay awake. I can't have you falling asleep right now. I'm sleeping, says my brain. That's what my brain says. So I pull up to one and I put the quarters in. 4, all 4. It needs 4. I put 4 in. I think I put 5 because it had a vacuum too, and that one was 6. And I was like, well, maybe it's not working at 4. I'll do 5. Nothing happens. No air. I measure it. This is what I did do though. I measured the air pressure with the pump, which this is another tip. If you're ever filling up your tire, isn't this fantastic? This podcast, I didn't even mean it to be a helpful thing, but it could be helpful if you listen to different 30-second increments. So you can put the tire pressure thing from the air pressure thing. Not a lot of terms being used. At the thing that there's like a hose that comes out and you can put it up to your tire and a little thing will pop up. I just learned this like a couple years ago, and it'll tell you what the pressure of your tire is, like for real. Like the digital thing in my car, that's been broken. It seemed like it was pretty consistent from then, but I put in and said there was only a 20 air pressure, 20 K air pressure units. So pounds, 20 pounds. KP, it's late, okay? I just got my kid to sleep. We don't need to know everything. So I get the air pressure. It's 20. Now I'm like, this is real. This is really happening. I'm like over an hour and a half away from my parents' house. Like over an hour from the hotel I was in. The only options I have are to call people I know in the area that are still awake, which was my parents, or to AAA, or to figure it out. And so I was like, let's figure this out. So I go into the gas station, and I just go up to the lady. Whenever I know something's wrong, and I know I'm right, I try not to lead with that something's wrong, because I feel like they might be sensitive about that, and they might be less likely to help me. Like if I walk into that gas station and be like, that air machine ate my dollar, fix it, fill my car. They might be like, whoa, buddy, you're not wanted. So I go up and I'm like, hey, can you turn on the air pressure thing? And they're like, oh, you got to put the money in. I was like, oh, yeah, I know. I put quarters in. And she's like, all right, I'll go out and look. And she's like, but I got to wait for the other guy to come back. So there was a guy that worked there too. And they had 2 people on the shift. It was like almost 11:30 in the middle of Michigan somewhere. How productive is this Shell gas station where they can have 2 people work? I never see two people working. How lucky was that? What if she was just like, I can't, I gotta stay. So anyway, she goes out there. I haven't finished all of my sentences in this episode. So we go out there and she like looks at it. And it's always interesting when someone hasn't seen what you just described. That's a problem. But they look at it just to make sure that you're not a liar, I guess, or that they don't know how to fix it, which I didn't believe that she really. I thought there might be a switch or something. But she just came out and she said, oh, you got to put quarters. And I was like, oh, I did put the quarters in. I even put 5 in, which when I originally did it, I was like, oh, I just wasted a quarter. But then I was like, now I can say I tried extra. That's worth 25 cents when you're at a Shell station in Michigan. It's like, I'm trying to get air for this tire. It's really down to 20. Oh, man, what if they come out here and say you got to put quarters in? I can say it took 4. I put 5 in. And she was like, did you put it in the vacuum one? And I was like, look, the vacuum would be going if I put it in that one. My car did need to be vacuumed out, but I had priorities. So there's another air thing in front of me, which I didn't see, but also like it was weird because money is a big deal for people. Like I have responsibilities, but 5 quarters, it's like, but I still remember it. It's like, it's just 5 quarters. I know where they are. And I know what service I didn't get, which I thought was supposed to be free anyway, as long as I purchased something from your store or from your gas station. So we pull up to the next one. She's like, just pull up to this next one. And she's like, I'll get this one. And I thought later maybe she paid for it herself. And I was like, maybe I should give her money. But I was like, no, I put the money in the other one. So no one offered to go in and get that money for me. So she put a couple in, and then she's like, I got to go back in. And I was like, I got another quarter. So I even paid for that one a little bit. And then we filled it up with air. And I was like, or I filled it up with air. I'm not giving her. She went away. And I filled it up with air all the way up to 40 pounds per square foot per inch. KPI. There's going to be so many things to Google on this episode afterwards. So it's not flat. I have changed a tire before. Not on that car. I have a Jeep, so the tires are bigger and the tire is underneath the car. And I've gotten it out before, but the bolts and nuts on the tire are so like hard to get off manually that it's a struggle. That was me just trying to fit in that I have changed the tire before, but it was on an older car, a different tire. So I filled it up and I'm like, oh, we're good now, But deep down, I kind of knew that we weren't good because if the air went out already, that means there's a hole there. And if you fill something with water, because there's if you have a bucket and there's a hole in the bottom of the bucket, just because you put more water in it, that's not a long-term fix. And air moves faster than water. Science people, non-science people know that. Non-science, because air moves. That's why it's air. It's because the molecules, I don't know if it's faster, but they're more like spread out. Solids are closest together. They're like vibrating, like it's crazy. Isn't this crazy? Like this is just vibrating. This is just things that's not even like crazy. That's just like atoms are so close together going that it feels solid. I can't even wrap my mind around. Like I accept it when people tell me that that's how science is. But I don't believe, I don't know what I believe. Liquid, I don't even care. Air, I can understand that there's molecules all over the place. Anyway. So, I know, I tell myself, okay, but I think I knew that it wasn't okay. So, I'm driving, and here's my solution. Sleepers, that's what I just got my kid to sleep, listeners. Sleepers, listen to my idea. So my idea is, all right, so I lost air once, right? Here's how I'll keep it up. I'll just drive faster because then the air molecules will go faster. Because you know how when you drive, the pressure always goes up because it heats up. That's what I was going to do. And I didn't get pulled over, but I don't think that's a way to get out of a ticket. It might be some sympathy. The police officer might be like, hey, let me make sure you're going to be okay. But if I get pulled over, like, hey, you're going, it's Michigan, so I have to go like 90 and an 80 or whatever. 90, why? I don't know if I could be like, well, my right back tire doesn't feel safe. So I thought I'd go really fast to see if it made it feel safer. It's like it would, if I was going really fast, it's like the tire would forget that something was wrong because the air molecules would be going so fast. Anyway, I didn't get pulled over. I didn't go 90. I just went a little bit faster because it was raining too than the speed limit. And then I got another alarm about 30 minutes later. I didn't get an alarm. I just checked it 30 minutes later, and it was down again to like pretty low, like 31. So I was like, all right, I got to take care of this. This isn't a long-term fix. And I didn't go AAA. I went to another gas station. What? Does anybody need a break? No breaks? Okay. So I go to this other gas station, and their air thing takes credit cards. Looking up already. And then I remember Fix-A-Flat. Have you ever heard of Fix-A-Flat? No, it's not a nickname I have for myself because I fixed a flat tire before. It's a bottle of stuff that I've seen my dad use as a kid when to like a temporary fix for a flat tire. So it's like, maybe here are my options. I can either drive in 30 minutes at a time and fill up air in my tire like every 30 to 45 minutes until I get home and then let my dad worry about it. Or I can Fix-A-Flat. So I looked in the car and there is some Fix-A-Flat. And on the can of Fix-A-Flat, it tells you how to use it. Like you take the lid off and then you take the thing off and you screw it onto the thing. And then here's what I love about Fix-A-Flat. This is my favorite part about Fix-A-Flat is that in the instructions it says, put on your safety goggles. Please wear safety goggles. Okay, yeah. Let me get to my lab real quick and get my safety goggles, Fix-A-Flat. This is an emergency product. I don't have safety goggles, which maybe I should get some and put them in my car. Maybe that's what they expect. They should put that in bigger letters, though, on the Fix-A-Flat bottle. Safety goggles not included in order to be like, wear them, you know? Because I used to be a weed whacker. I was a graveyard weed whacker when I was in high school. I used to work at the Memorial Cemetery in Wabash, Indiana. My baseball coach, Orrin Wagner, was my boss. And I would wake up every morning during the week and go and weed whack and then go play baseball at night. And I wore goggles every day, safety goggles. And at first, all right, you guys need to do something? Here's your break time. I gotta take a minute, not a minute even, like 10 seconds. Oh my gosh, is this exciting? Okay. Why? It's a battery backup sump pump system that alarms, I think, when the sump pump needs to be backed up, and instead I just press the button to make the noise stop. So anyway, I should probably tell my parents about it. But I was a weed whacker, right? And I wore safety goggles. And I remember when I was first told to wear safety goggles, I always feel like as a man to wear a safety thing for my generation was like, I don't like, and it seems stupid, but like when I was a kid, you didn't have to wear seatbelts. It was like, I mean, your parents told you to, but it was like not a law. And I was thinking about it the other day. I think that one of the reasons why it took so long for safety belts to be like a law is because seatbelts or safety belt is because car seats are so heavy, and that people were like, hey, if we make seatbelts a law, people are going to have to use car seats legally, and I have kids, and I don't want to carry it with me. Anyway, that's just an idea. So I used to wear safety goggles when I did weed whacking, and it saved my eyes because it shoots up rocks into your face. So if you're ever using a weed whacker, put those goggles on. My dad didn't give me those when I had to do them at home. So I'm doing the Fix-A-Flat, no safety goggles. I'm doing it like this. I'm covering my eyes and just hooking it and then believing it. And in the directions it said you got to watch to see when it's done filling up. And I did that. And then and I didn't believe it at first. And I just kept pressing the button until it was really done. And I pulled it out. And then you got to fill it with air after that, because the Fix-A-Flat is in air. It doesn't fix the lack of air. It fixes the exit place of the air temporarily. You got to get it checked out, or have whoever handles your cars check it out. So I filled it up with air, and then I was ready to go. And I kept checking it, and that Fix-A-Flat fixed it. Michael Fix-A-Flat Palascak saved the day. And my dad called because I was coming. I told them I would be back at a certain time. I check in. I don't have to be home. I'm a grown up. But I told them I was going to be, and I wasn't back at that time. And my dad was like, what time do you think you're going to be home? And I told him, and in the same breath, I was about to be like, oh, my tire. But he kind of like, it didn't come out because he was just talking about something else. And then it's like, all right, I'm going to sleep. Good night. And I didn't tell him about the time because I felt like he might not be able to fall asleep. And I really feel like proud that I gave him that gift, because I think people want to know stuff, but when they get a good night's sleep, it's better, I think. So, yeah, that was my adventure. Fix a flat. Check it out. It fixes a flat. And then I learned that you can have a tire with a slow burning hole in it. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated. A lot of stuff to update on. So, yeah, I was in East Lansing, Michigan. The show was very fun. Great hospitality. If you're ever in the area, tomorrow night they have a musician from France. Well, she's French. So I think that means you're from France. I mean, I know it means you're from France, but I don't know, how long ago. I don't know if you were I lived in France last year. If you'd be able to talk about stuff. But maybe she is. Maybe she lives there now. So it's at the Wharton Center in the Jackson Lounge. It's a beautiful, kind of windowed area that when it gets dark out, it's good for comedy. And they had food. They have this chef there. And they told me they design the meals off of the person who's performing. And they knew I was from Indiana. So they picked things off of that, which is so weird because I got this slider before the show, and it was this pork fritter. And I hadn't had one of those since high school. And my mom didn't make that, but it was a food they served at my cafeteria. And it was really good. It tasted way better than the cafeteria food, but it looked like food I hadn't eaten since cafeteria food. So I was like, why did we do that? But then it tasted really good. And then the dessert was this white vanilla and chocolate ice cream next to this pie thing that was just this crust. Anyway, the Wharton Center, if you're in the area, check it out for sure. The crowd was very nice. Everyone was very nice. Shout out to the staff, everybody, Eric, Cody, Dave. I feel like I meet people, but I don't always remember everyone's names, but everyone was very special in my heart. And there was one table of younger people, and they were very, very good to have there. Older people can laugh a lot too, but I just feel like the younger people saved the day. And it was really fun. So this weekend, I'm in Youngstown, Ohio. Michael, why did you go back to Chicago? Well, here's the thing. As a comedian, you travel, you figured. Originally, my agent booked it because he's like, Youngstown's close to East Lansing, and it's not. It's at least 6 hours, maybe less. It doesn't, but it's not the day after. So I could have done a hotel in between. But this way, I get to come home and see my parents. I want to see them at least once a month. Or whatever. And I when I say it, I feel like I've told my parents that it sounds like I'm doing a nice thing, but really it's I don't know. I get to go home to a house and spend time with people I love, and there's always food. There's always food. When you're a parent, you're just used to all the stuff that you have to do, and no one else contributing in a real way that's measurable, because 6-year-olds they have a lot of heart, 6-year-olds are the Rudy of kids, if you could give that kind of heart to a 10-year-old, you'd have a champion child. There's just not a lot of knowledge that they know. You're just constantly doing stuff. But I was home last month, and I was watching something on TV, and I just started cleaning their fridge. And I was like, why am I doing that? And I think it was because it's not hard. It feels good to clean stuff, I found as a parent. It feels very worthwhile, very satisfying to see dirt and scrub it away. and then look at the fridge and be like, oh, it's so clean. And like I did that, I helped. Like every time someone's going to get food from this fridge, they're going to feel in their heart like they're loved. And I just could. And at home, I don't have that luxury, I guess it would be, to just clean stuff. So anyway, I decided to drive back to, so I was in Michigan. Youngstown's over here. Michigan's over here. And I could have went like this to see people in Cincinnati, but I just been to Cincinnati. Or I could have gone straight to Youngstown, but I decided to go the other way. And then on Friday, I'll fly to Cleveland. We'll fly to Cleveland. It's not an expensive flight. Probably just as expensive as renting a car and returning it in a different city. So I'll fly to Cleveland, rent a car, and then fly out of Cleveland back to California. And then I'll get to see my kid. And see Youngstown, Ohio, at the Funny Farm. It's called Youngstown, Ohio, but the club is actually in Niles, Ohio. So, like the Fraser brother. So that's Friday and Saturday. I believe 8 p.m. Friday, 7 p.m. Saturday. And then next week I go to, next week's a big week. I don't know if I brought it up last week, but next week I'm flying into New York because my cousin's daughter, who's also my cousin, nominated me as a trailblazer to her elementary school or middle school, and I get to go there, and I don't know what really. I should probably look up what I have to do, but because I'm a comedian and no one in my family has ever been a comedian before. And my cousin, who's like my age, was like, usually it's for people that have like traveled to another country to find, a new life. So I don't know if I really rank as a trailblazer, but they're doing it, and I'll take whatever support I can get. But I thought that'd be nice to do because on Friday I'm in New Hampshire, in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, at the Music Hall Lounge for 2 shows. And, the good seats are going. There's some seats in the back that no one's bought yet, but it's a very intimate room. I'm sure those will be good seats too. And then Saturday, I'm going to go see Glengarry Glen Ross on Broadway with Bill Burr and Kieran Culkin and Bob Odenkirk. They're not coming with me. They're in the show. I'm just going to watch. I don't know. I mean, I worked with Bill Burr one time in San Jose, California, but I don't think he would. I don't think it was a memorable. It was a long time ago, and I have a MySpace message from Bill Burr somewhere. I gotta hope that didn't get deleted. He's a comedian that everybody knows for sure, and he kind of like Steph Curry, the game of comedy. I feel like if you don't get that reference, it's because no one's made it before. But Steph Curry shot 3-pointers at such a high rate that it changed the way basketball is played, to where threes are just shot so much more than it was before Steph Curry. Like, you can look at basketball before Steph Curry, and it's much different than basketball after Steph Curry for a lot of teams. And I feel like Bill Burr did that in the sense of like his style and his point of view on the world. Like, before Bill Burr, comedy was a certain way, and now after him, it's a more rich. It can be a richer experience, from my personal opinion. So they're in the show. I'm gonna go see it the matinee because Saturday night I'll be in Boonton, New Jersey, at the Boonton Coffee Company. And maybe I'm saying the city wrong. We just combined the shows to one powerful 7 p.m. show, rather than 2 powerful, a 6 and an 8. Not because it just worked out, I think, for ticket-wise, to sell tickets. So, and then Sunday I'll be in Stamford, Connecticut, at the New York Comedy Club in Stamford, Connecticut. Not the New York Comedy Club in New York. There is a New York Comedy Club in New York. They called this one the New York Comedy Club in Stamford, Connecticut, because it's confusing. But it's a matinee, so I get to fly home. Those are my upcoming shows. That's just me getting that in there. So I made it home. All the tires, and I didn't mean to imply that I should take care of my car better. It's just I leave town on Friday, and usually I grew up in a family where my dad really revered cars and taking care of cars. We always washed our cars. We always helped wash the cars. We would always take them in when they needed something fixed. My dad used to know how to fix the cars, the older cars. And so just the fact that there's a tire that's got a leak to it, I'm pretty sure that's just we're gonna figure it out. Hope everybody's doing well. I know there's a lot of big news stuff, a lot of stuff in the world, sports, entertainment, and I'm thinking of everybody and all the best. And it's not done yet. I could be done right now. I have a friend when I started doing this podcast, and she knows a lot about podcasts, I feel like, because she's kind of a part of a podcast. And she was like giving me advice or whatever. And then she was like, yeah, let's do like 30 minutes or whatever. Just do 30 minutes. And then I did my podcast for a while, and we were just talking about podcasts. And she was like, you know what's good? 30 minutes. And I feel like she had listened to mine, and she was like, I think you're going over by like 20 minutes. And then most recently, she was like, you like sports, right? You should just do one that's like 7 minutes every day. I'm just like, I think less is more is what they say. But I don't know. I think if I was listening to this and doing something else and it was interesting a little bit, I would appreciate the extra time. And if I wasn't going to appreciate it, I would just, probably shouldn't tell people to turn it off. But anyway, we go to our segment of the season. How long did it last? How long did it last? So last week, I started using a new bottle of contact eye solution, multi-purpose, okay? It cleans and disinfects and removes protein. It doesn't just clean the protein, it removes the protein. I don't know the brand. Bausch & Lomb, maybe? I brought it out of my suitcase, but I didn't bring it downstairs. But here's the visual we have. This is consistent with the rest of the podcast. So we have this water bottle. I would say I've drank about as much water as there is, which is there's more than half still left, which is good because I feel like contact solution should last longer than a week, like the big ones, or longer than 2 weeks. But it's definitely significant. I definitely have cut in. So I'm going to predict based off of this model that next week it'll still be lasting, but I think that's the last full week. I think 3 weeks might be a stretch, but also I'm not going to count it out. But right now I'm just going to go 1 more week. That's my prediction. Just by the way, on these predictions are purely for entertainment purposes only. So if there was a place to bet how long it would last, I don't know if that exists. I don't know what kind of following this podcast has in the black market underground gambling circuits. But this is just for fun, So, leave it to the professionals. So that's where we're at with how long did it last. It still lasted. I predict 1 more week plus, but not 2 more weeks. Not 2 more. Okay? Also, I was in Charlotte and Virginia Beach the last 2 weeks doing secret shows where they're not really secret. I just opened for Kathleen Madigan and I'm not advertised. And who cares? But they're really fun. So I don't know if I want to talk. Which one do you want to talk about? I don't like when people do that, but I think it's okay on my podcast. I think it's weird when someone's like, "Hey, do you want this?" And then you say, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "You have it. We were just gonna throw it away." It's like, well, now I feel weird for a couple reasons. First off, I feel weird because you're giving me a thing, like now I have this on my soul, I don't even know if I really want it, but I don't want you to just kill it, Now I gotta throw it away, but also, like, what if I want it and I love it and I'm supposed to be like, whoa, who am I? Like, they were just gonna throw it away. What kind of level does that mean lower me to? All right. I made scallops for my son. I don't think I talked about this yet. I shouldn't. No one knows. There's some people that listen to at least 2 in a row. I made scallops because I heard from an Instagram reel that you should make food that your child doesn't like, and then say, hey, maybe you like it today. And you put you hold your head in a happy angle. And, cause everyone's taste buds change all the time. So you gotta that's like an excuse for them to try it, And he always does that with me. Whenever he wants me to do something, he'll be like, it's always good to try new things, Dad. That's what Super Kitty say. Shout out to Leah Gotchick and friends who wrote for that show. Who also won an Emmy for Tiny Chef on Nickelodeon Paramount Plus. Check out Tiny Chef. It's Emmy winner. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the Emmy ranks a little bit above being mentioned on this podcast, but still. Yeah. What was I talking about? My son. Oh, so Instagram is where I get my parenting advice. And so I did that. I was going to eat scallops. Scallops are great because they're frozen. You put them in the freezer, and so you don't have to get frozen food is great for people that travel a lot because it's just in there, and we want to cook it. It's good. It's good for months. So I was cooking scallops, and I cut a little bit out and put it on Jack's plate, and because I was just like, oh, and he put it towards his mouth, and then he took it away right away, and I was like, oh, you should try it, and then I ate it because I was like, oh, he's not gonna eat it, and then, oh man, the beeping. Is the beeping really loud? Okay, everybody take a second. I'm going to finish the story first. So I started eating it, and I was like, you should really at least try a little bit so you know whether you like it or not because taste buds change. And Jack's like, oh, I licked it, and that's how I know. Heads up. Give me a heads up before I put it in my mouth, son. This is what I was going to say earlier. I was watching... comedian named Rory Scovel, really great comedian, does a lot of improv stand-up, a lot of non-improv stand-up, and I saw a special taped live, and he did this part of the set where he was like, it was back when Comedy Central was that was the best thing you could get was a half-hour special. And there was no Netflix specials yet, and maybe a couple, but not it wasn't as big, it seemed, and Rory was like, hey, you guys are all watching this on TV right now. Turn the channel real quick. I'll wait. And then he waited. And then he was like, hey, if you did turn the channel, welcome back. And if you didn't, you just missed out on a TV person telling you to turn the channel and then waiting. And it was so funny. So anyways, if you have something you want to do for 10 seconds, do that thing. Wait, don't leave. I just got to press the button. Okay, this is not very professional. I'm going to have to really reconsider my recording locations. So, I sound like the first. I was getting in a hotel. A lot of hotels. Okay, here are my top 3. This is a top 3 segment. Top 3. I got to remember how these songs go. So, my third favorite kind of elevator is the kind where you have to swipe your card. Where I don't know. It's probably tied for second. Okay. This tied for second elevator is the one where you don't have to swipe your key and then press the thing. Then the other tied for second one is where you have to swipe your key and then push your floor because, it's safety or whatever. But it is kind of weird because then everyone's it's kind of. I was on an elevator and I got on and I knew my floor was 15 and this other person was 11 and this other person was a 4. And so we got up to 4 and the person that I knew was 11 started to get off the elevator, or they did get off the elevator. And I knew it wasn't their floor, but I didn't feel comfortable being oh, this isn't your floor. Not that I know where you're sleeping, but you pressed a different button. I'm not trying to find out where your hotel room is. I didn't. And then while my brain was doing that, the elevator stopped at 11 and I got off at 11 and I was like, I messed up my floor. So yeah, my favorite kind of elevator at the hotel is the one, there's only been a few of them. It came out during the pandemic where you just press the floor outside of the elevator and it brings you down your own elevator and you get in and it shoots you up and it's this is the life, All right. My son went to the dentist last week. It was a great appointment. Thanks for checking in, everybody, about that. He's 6, so 6 is a fun age because I think his brain is still like a little younger, but he's getting bigger. Like, he always had me sit with him on the dental chair, and I did that. He wanted me to sit there again, but he's like so big. It's just almost like 2/3 of a person laying, like sitting on my lap while he, gets his teeth clean. But then he went to do the x-rays, and I just let him go in there by himself because I'm not putting myself through that. And he did that by himself, which was pretty special. I was going to take a picture, but all over the dentist's office they said no pictures or recording, which part of me is like, does that mean this is not a good dentist's office where they don't want proof? Or is it just like we get nervous around the teeth with the video cameras? We don't want to slip and slice a gum. But anyway, Jack's going to have more teeth coming, which I didn't even know. I didn't know you got more teeth at age 6, but they get molars coming in. And the dentist was like, hey, do you notice like a runny nose and a cough and other stuff? And I was like, yeah, I think he just has allergies though. He's like, no, that's the teeth coming in. And I felt so good because when my kid gets sick, I feel like it's kind of my fault because we don't have a bedtime. But we do. It's just, but it's just the teeth coming in. So, yeah. This last piece I'm going to talk about is more of just a heart-to-heart real quick. So I've found, this is a little metaphor that I found to be helpful just recently. It's like I play in a baseball league, and I don't practice. And baseball is a game where you practice a lot when you play in college or high school. I didn't play in college. But practicing is good. But it really though, if you think about it, if you're at an age where you've learned a lot, do you really, like, it doesn't matter what you do in practice. It just matters what you do in the moment, And like, if you've done it super long time, you could practice all day and still choke, right? So it's kind of all about what you do right now. And so now that I'm not in high school for a long time, and we don't practice at all, we just play on Sundays, I found myself having to deal, like in the past, deal with the guilt of like, oh, I didn't work on this at all. I didn't work on this thing at all. This game or whatever. This is a game, and I didn't work on it at all. But I'm still at the home plate right now. And I'm glad I did this at the end in case people already tuned out. So I'm at home plate right now. I'm batting, I'm dealing with a real situation right here that I want to do successfully. Like, it doesn't have little, it means a lot to me, but I put in zero work at it this week. 0 hours, maybe the last like 6 months. But I'm still here right now. I'm here right now, and I'm dealing with the situation. And so I found out that the best first step from that situation, that helped me sort of get away from like the fact of like feeling bad for myself. Because I feel like if you feel bad for yourself, it's already a step away from moving towards what you want to have happen. So I was like, well, the person who didn't work at this sport at all, that's the old me, and I'm just dealing with this stuff right now the best that I can. The mistakes that were made, which aren't mistakes, I'm a dad, I'm a comedian, I don't have time to necessarily get out and practice a lot. It's just a fun thing. But like, all that stuff was someone else's choice, and this is just me dealing with their stuff, and I think it's more fun. And so now in life, if I'm in a situation where I start to feel guilty, maybe this podcast should just be called The End of the Guilt Trip. No, like, if I start to feel guilty about how something is going because of a decision I feel like I made, which personally, you don't even really know if what you decided is causing everything that's happening. It could be like a bunch of stuff. I just be like, oh, yeah. Well, everything that I did like yesterday that led up to today, like say you stay up late with your kid, right? And you're tired the next day. And what can you do? You can be like, oh, I feel so stupid that we stayed up too late. Or you can be like, oh yeah, that was stupid. Who did that? That was me yesterday that did that. Today me is going to handle this and clean up everything that Michael yesterday messed up. So I don't know. Maybe I should have thought about that more before I went through it. But anyway, how long did it last? How long did it last? I also feel like when I rent a car now and the gas thing isn't like really far away from not being full, I don't take the time to fill it up because I don't risk missing my flight for it, which you probably should never. These are just things that are around here. All right. That was episode 56. I'm Michael Palascak. Thank you for watching and or listening. The end.